The views and opinions of this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. There is substantial risk of loss in trading futures and options, which you should carefully consider prior to trading. Well, as we wrapped up the trading week on Friday, overall, pretty quiet session across the grains and oil seeds and in the livestock trade as well, as we just seem to be searching for fresh news to drive these markets. Let's talk about things. Joining us now for a conversation, Dwayne Bussey with Bolton Marketing, and joining us today from the cab of his tractor. Dwayne, it's good to catch up with you again, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great because I'm out here. So, typical farm boy, get me out in the tractor and I'm just loving life. So you're catch me on kind of the first round of the year. It's still pretty cold way up here in Northeast South Dakota, but I'm doing great being out here. Always nice to get out of the office, and thank God for technology. I can do a lot still from the office. So I'm doing well. How about yourself, Jesse?
You know, I'm doing great, can't complain. My Packers took a wide receiver in the first round on Thursday night for the first time in, I think, 23 years. So I was a little shocked, a little surprised, but we'll take it. And then, getting to talk with folks like you and getting to hear that field work is happening in many areas, maybe dodging some rain showers in some spots. I mean, talk about how some of this early field work's going for you, Dwayne.
For us, honestly, for being, what are we, April 25th? Usually it's a month from now when you talk to me, and I'm not so happy because I'm out here because I'm stressed because we're trying to get it in the last second. This is early for us. This is very early, and the fields are perfect. That's what makes it hard to stop. The soil temps are just a little bit low, but in general over the nation, I got to admit, Sunday night, seeing the forecast and thinking what last week was, I didn't think the corn planting would advance as much as it did. And then Monday morning, I did a little crop tour with a broker in Iowa, and he said, no, like a third of it's all planted. He said USDA will be behind on their crop progress report, but it's going fast. And he was right. Iowa's ahead of normal and kind of pulled up the whole average then because of their weighted average, right? So planting's going good. Even in the Dakotas, like I said, we're like 7% done planted in South Dakota, 0 in North Dakota, but technically I am in North Dakota by like a mile and a half here. So we're getting started. It's slow, but way ahead of the normal pace. And with this size of equipment, Jesse, if we get a 10 or 14 day window, guys get a lot done. The thing is, definitely some rain showers here and there. We're going to hope to duck one this weekend. I'm afraid I'm going to get a couple days in here and go right back to the office, but that's the way it goes in the spring.
Well, thinking how planting progress is going in many areas, and there's been so much talk about the acreage battle, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, segue over and talking markets, pretty quiet end of the week. It just feels like the grains are searching for news, whether it be weather news, headline news, whatever the case is. It just feels like we're trying to find some news, and we're kind of chopping around right now.
A little bit. Like I said, I think the planting progress caught some people off guard. That pulled the corn market down earlier in the week. But we went right now into that 20-day moving average in July and found good buying support. And remember, if I can back up even further, the managed money, the funds bought 70,000 contracts the week prior. They don't go long 70,000 in a week and get out the next week. So I think they were some of that buying interest on the dip. And you're right, we are kind of searching for the next story. I think the markets want to go higher, but I don't think we have the weather story to push it higher. Brazil's about perfect right now for their second crop of corn. That's not there, but like I said, I think the funds want to buy. Soybeans had a good week, though, really, Jesse. I mean, pushing through that resistance at 10.59, and now we had some confirmed buying early in the day, finished a little red, but we're always chasing, sadly, the China, Trump, trade tariff headlines, and man, now we're getting rumors back and forth of who's talking to who. It's kind of like first grade all over again, passing notes right now.
Well, it's a great point you bring up, and it leaves us kind of uncertain. I don't think the markets necessarily know what way to go in terms of all this tariff headline risk and more. You think about as well watching the potential U.S. peace deal offer for Russia, Ukraine. I mean, all of these things, Dwayne, I could throw them all in one bucket, and it just adds to choppy volatility in these markets, doesn't it?
It really does. Luckily, maybe for us, the choppiness in the volatility isn't as extreme as it once was. I think now we're getting just a touch numb to it. But yeah, I mean, gosh, was it 2 days ago? Trump keeps saying we're talking. China and the U.S. are talking, and then I know overnight, China, kind of on their social media, was talking about, oh, Trump's backing off the tariffs. We're winning this war, and no, we're not talking at all. And then Trump said this morning that, yeah, I talked to Xi this morning, and I thought I saw is Vice President Vance going to China to talk to President Xi now, I think next week, or is that? Can you confirm or deny?
I
Or am I really putting you on the spot right now, aren't I?
I can't confirm or deny that. But I haven't looked too hard in my day here today. I've been tied up with some other things, so I will have to. I'll have to take a look at those news headlines and see what's out there. But I think that in itself just speaks to the unknowns here. That
Right.
from a risk management standpoint, Dwayne, I mean,
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
producers get busy in the field, not sure maybe what to do, and to some degree, I mean, it just adds to. I hate to use the word uncertainty because I'm tired of using it, but it's the only word I can think of here in terms
No,
of risk management.
no, you're right. It's funny you asked that question. I end up asking you a question about, is he going or not? Like, so just think about what we just talked about in the last minute here, all the uncertainty. So you're 100% right. So really the question, what do producers do at the end with their risk management and that? You know, I think we have absorbed a lot of the negative news when it comes to the tariff talk, trade war. I really do. And I do think at the end of it, both Trump and presidency want to see some sort of agreement. We want both countries to get along somehow, some way or the other, but everyone wants what they want. But from a risk management standpoint, here would be my advice for guys. You get up in the morning. I know you want to go straight to the field, get as many acres as possible, but have a cup of coffee, look at your marketing plan, maybe every day. I know I'm asking a lot there, but just look at the spreadsheet, look at where markets are at. Do I need to put a sell order up above? Because I think if I'm right, and say we start to get some weather scares, I think this corn market can move quickly. You want to be in place though. So remember, so I'm sounding bullish, but I'm still selling it as we go. If we get a weather scare, I do want to sell this crop because if it goes in as good as it looks like it might, then we could have a big crop too. So, sell the rally still. Look at your spreadsheet every morning when you have that cup of coffee. I have too many guys at the end. Well, I was busy at the time when it rallied. Marketing's really important. Now you're talking to a dork who does it for a living, but I mean, it's very important. You work so hard putting the crop in. Why not sell it for the best price you can? So take a look at those marketing plans every morning. Put those sell orders out there.
I have to think that same mindset to some degree plays over that livestock arena. I mean, I know there's a different set of fundamentals going on there, but I mean, you look at cattle, for instance, and the way this cash market's acting and more. I mean, from a risk management standpoint, we've said this time and time again, get some protection
No.
underneath you somehow, some way here, Dwayne.
Absolutely. And I'll be the first to admit I've been wrong maybe by saying that. But is it really wrong to hedge at all time highs? No. During the tariff war, I really thought these funds are going to get out of all long positions. Now, here we go. So we have guys hedged up pretty good, look kind of smart for a little while. This week, now I don't look so smart again as we go back up and make new all time highs. But still, where we made those sales, those hedges at, look good. Now, not a ton of people sold the board. I mean, that's going to be margin call city, and they know that. Most of them did LRP or put options. They left the upside open. And remember, when you do that, you do hope I'm wrong, right? If you buy LRP insurance, that's just like a glorified put option. You hope it does go higher. So this is a good thing. Now, for some reason, as producers, we want to buy a floor or a put option and watch the market crash afterwards, but you really don't. You want it to be a waste. And that cattle market is strong. I can't confirm anything, but I'm hearing cash cattle trade being higher. But I also saw somebody hit 212 yesterday bid. I don't know who did or why. Maybe they were tired of margin calls and getting out and just sold at 212. But I heard rumors of it could be 220 this afternoon too. So the market's strong. New highs for the week. Just act strong, look strong. You got to be excited about the cattle market.
Very true. Very true. Dwayne, anything else you're tracking with these markets here as we head into the month of May? And again, I know you're you're putting focus on planting season too here, but like you said, following things from the cab. What else are you tracking right now in these markets?
I think the soybean market is tracking the acreage somewhat battle. There really wasn't an acreage battle, right? Soybeans felt like they could lose all the acres because we're going to be in a trade war. Now the fact that we might get out of the trade war at the end soybeans kind of figured out we can't lose more than 83.5 million acres of beans. And the way this spring is starting out quickly and corn planting may be ahead of pace, it sounds like, at least in key states like Iowa, I think soybean market's kind of ratcheting up, and that's why we broke that resistance this week and going higher. So I think that'll continue. But Jesse, I think that's a selling opportunity, 10.50 and higher on November beans. I'm still got those same sell targets out there from before. I like hedging beans because what if our exports do drop next year? Brazil still has a big crop size. We can get a trade deal done with China. That'd be great, and that might spike the market. But this is China. They're still going to buy the cheapest beans they can find. So that still concerns me. So risk management is still on my mindset and looking forward, especially like you said with the cattle too. I'm still going to be pushing more LRP with guys. It looks like it's never going to go lower, but the second a bear like me starts to get bullish in the cattle market, you better be ready because it's probably done. I know guys are targeting 300 for feeders, but what's wrong with 298? There's nothing wrong with that. Buy some LRP, buy a put option, be done with it.
Absolutely. How about those outside markets too, with all that headline volatility? I mean, we've seen so much movement in stocks, crude, gold, you name it. Anything key we need to keep an eye on there?
Well, yeah, I think the key is the US dollar.
That's true. Like that's the one I didn't mention.
I know. I was thinking crude when I was going to answer, and I was like, just stop trading it. I got a few guys that trade crude, and I'm like, I don't know where it's going right now with OPEC, increasing production. But what I was getting at on the US dollar, that going below 100, going below par, I think is a big reason why our commodities look better. Look at our export demand for corn staying strong. You can do a lot of math of like, you could have some tariffs on, but with as much as US dollar dropped, we still might be the cheapest place. And for corn, we still are the cheapest place in the world. So watch the dollar. I do think we found some support. I think it's going to haul back and forth around 100, which is fine. It's a lot better than the 107. Being a producer, I'd love to see it drop below 90, but I don't think that'll happen either. And I don't know if I want to see the stock market if it drops below 90 either.
Dwayne, good stuff as always. If folks want to reach out to you for a conversation on the markets there at Bolt Marketing or from the cab of the tractor, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, that phone will find me right out here. It's transferred right here for today in the mobile office, 605-448-2365, or they can check our website out at boltmarketingllc.com.
Well, we'll wish you best of luck with early field work, and I'm sure we'll check in again in a few weeks as you're getting more activity done there in the field. Dwayne Bussey, Bolt Marketing, thanks for joining us here today on the show. Appreciate it, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jesse.
Make sure to subscribe to the Market Talk YouTube channel. You can watch our latest interviews with top market analysts in the country, find bonus content, and much more. It's easy. Just go to youtube.com/@MarketTalkAg and hit the subscribe button. Or you can search for Market Talk Ag on YouTube.